I want to talk a little bit about your ownership. I am a black woman editor of a paper. I don't know very many black women editors of a paper. And that's awesome, I think, both for me professionally, but also
I think it's awesome too, yeah.
For other, you know, other black girls. Well, that's at least what I hope, that other black girls will see me and say, oh, you know, that's a possibility for me too. So that's great. But I still answer to a white boss. You have a lot of journalists of color working for you who are amazing, and it's one of the things that made me so happy to be able to work with you guys. They ultimately also offer to a white man boss. Do you see that as a problem? I'll start with that question. Do you see that as a problem?
Well, in substance, no. In perception, yeah, sometimes. I also answer to a board. We're a nonprofit. I don't own the Real News. Real News has a board. Mm-hmm. They can fire me. Sometimes I wish they would. Our board's probably certainly half people of color, mostly black. Our vice chair now is black.
And is that something that you did on purpose?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And certainly perceptually in Baltimore, mm-hmm. it's been an issue. But I think it's highly exaggerated. Majority black city council with a black mayor, does that give us good city politics?
You're right.
You know, we had a black president for 8 years. If you were in the 1%, you did really well. I don't think the poor and working people of Baltimore situation improved. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's a non-issue, and I think it's great to have a black woman running a paper. And I really hope the next leadership of the Real News is, in fact, it's one of the reasons we came to Baltimore. You asked why did we come to Baltimore? Well, there's other reasons. One of the next generation of leadership for the Real News, I hope, is from Baltimore. Mm. And I hope it's from black Baltimore. And you can ask me why, but let me finish the point first. But I think black people, people of color, while it's not a non-issue, it's far more important to pay attention to the substance. Like, judge what we're doing. Mm. You know, if what we're doing is from some kind of white privilege perspective, then denounce it. But you can't make the issue just the white CEO. Yeah. Unless you're going to accept any organization's great if there's a black CEO. And it's a totally opportunist position. The position that exaggerates the issue, that it needs to be a black person in charge, winds up being a position which is just for career, to open up some jobs, and it becomes some black people can now, in fact, reinforce a system that does have white privilege.
Yeah, it seems like one of the things that is a problem here in Baltimore, that I've seen reporting in Baltimore, is I think that the black people that do get to these positions of power think that because they've earned their way to this seat, then things are better. It's like, okay, well, we're good now, but really only you specifically are good. And when you think that in your head, we're good now, you're no longer of use to any other black people. Because then you're basically like, if seeing all those people suffering, well, they must have done something wrong that I didn't do.
Well, you know, I'm not saying everyone that has this position believes what I'm about to say, but I've had a lot of conversations with people who believe that it's the most important thing is that there be black leadership. And it winds up being trickle-down economics, meaning if you can get a black elite and blacks can make money and you can get black wealth and all the rest of that, successful black capitalists, somehow that trickles down to the community. Mm-hmm. Except on the whole, it doesn't. Yeah. Like, you ask for examples of that, and they're very rare and far between, where individual black people who made a lot of money actually come back and do something serious for the community. I'm not saying never, but it's not a generalized thing. It's a complicated issue, because I'm not saying black leadership of black organizations, or even broad front organizations that include black, whites, and other people. There is a part where there does need to be black leadership. There does need to be Latino leadership. There does need to be Native leadership. you know, in the long run, and this is part of the reason we came to Baltimore, real news will be better for it. Because I keep repeating this thing. We believe real change comes from people who need it most, which also means leadership that will lead to real change will come from people who need it most. That's so we do want to get there. Yeah.
That's one of the things I think a lot of people that I've talked to in the city who work with nonprofits or have worked in nonprofits, or what I've seen in journalism, is that there will be kind of like this, if you put the business into stratus, there's a stratus where there's the black people, but there's no path upward to be like leadership. There's, you know, there could be black writers at the Sun, and there are very good black writers at the Sun. There's very few positions of black people in leadership at the Sun. In nonprofits the same way. You know, there could be people on the ground doing the real work, but the people that are guiding these nonprofits are white. So there needs to be a way to make paths, but also not be like tokenism or putting the wrong people.
Well, leadership group are the real news in terms of day-to-day. You know, essentially 3 people are, you could say, in the senior leadership. That's Eddie Conway, Sharmini Pierce, and myself. So that's 2/3 people of color, a woman of color.
Former Black Panther.
Former Black Panther, Eddie Conway. And you know, our journalists you know, and staff are, it's at least 50% black, and maybe it's more than 50%, but I would actually like it to be more, and because I want the staff to look like Baltimore, which means 65% black. But I go back to the same issue. Like, you know, it's not that it isn't an issue, but you must judge the substance, because if it becomes the issue, it opens the door for just opportunism.